Welcome back, everyone, to another Mast Cell 360 live show. I'm Jamie Fries-Miller, your host and health coach here at Mast Cell 360. Whether you're joining us live right now or catching the replay later, we're so glad to have you with us today. These lives are all about empowering you on your mast cell journey with practical insights, expert guidance, and support of our amazing community. Today's show is Low EMF Infrared Sauna, Gentle Detox for Sensitive Systems with our expert guest, Vic Riffel from Sunlighten Sauna. All right. So you can see that we're also joined by Kimberly today. We were having some technical issues, so I apologize for the late start, but thank you so much for hanging in there and being with us. Before we get going, I just have to do our quick disclaimers. Today's session and presentation is for informational and educational purposes. It is not meant to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent illness. Be sure to discuss any health recommendations with your personal healthcare provider. And just a reminder that some of the links shared during this presentation or on our website are affiliate links, which means Mast Cell 360 may take a very small commission if you purchase through the link. We only recommend products that we love and use personally in the Mast Cell 360 clinic. Okay, so what are we going to be talking about today? We are going to be talking about the different types of saunas and the benefits of infrared, what low EMF really means and why it matters for sensitive people, how to know if you're ready for sauna, tips to get started gently to avoid flaring from something that we think would be super beneficial, but our Mast Cell 360 method is all about doing it in a gentle detox way. So we're going to give you some practical tips to see if you're ready for sauna and how to do it to avoid flares. And of course, if we have time, we'll do a live Q&A. So as we're going through, be sure to drop your on-topic questions in the comments during the show. And again, please make sure that they're on topic. So sauna, Mast Cell Activation Syndrome, and detox. And please understand that we're unable to answer in-depth personal health questions. Okay, so who is our guest? Vic, and I'm so sorry with our technical issues. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name right. Is it Riffel?
Riffel, actually, but that's a very, very common one. But thank you for asking.
Yeah, no, of course. I tell people this all the time. Now that I'm homeschooling my 6-year-old, I'm mostly doing everything phonetically. So it's actually funny that I did like the not phonetic, the long vowel for I, right? Little personal insight into my life. Teaching reading is hard. Okay, so Vic is a central figure on the partner team at Sunlighten, and he's a leading producer of infrared saunas. He is deeply connected to health and wellness, and he leads initiatives with wide access to infrared therapy and facilitates collaborations with top wellness experts. So beyond work, Vic is dedicated to supporting generational health changes, which I love. As an anthropologist, I'm always thinking about, future generations, actively championing projects as a board member of Small Changes, Big Shifts to promote whole person health. I just love that. Thank you so much for being with us today, Vic.
Yes, thank you guys for having me. This is a really special group. And when I'm talking about wellness experts, like this is part of that. Mast Cell 360 has always been a leader in the field. And that's what gives me joy being part of Sunlighten, is working with such amazing experts.
Yeah, so I'd love to, get people to know a little bit about you and what brought you into this world of saunas.
Yeah, so I have always been about health and wellness for myself, for others, and then just helping others too. So growing up, I was a swimmer. I went to college and swam and really thought I had a grasp on what it was to be healthy. And I was doing it in bits and pieces. Like physically, I was in great shape. I had started to do meditation and that kind of thing. But it wasn't until I came across Sunlighten. And honestly, I didn't know what infrared was when I came here. And that was about 5 years ago now. But I was lucky enough to have some connections that knew Connie Zach. She's our co-founder. She's spoken with Mast Cell 360 in the past. And I, again, got lucky and was able to apply for this role. So through my previous experiences with partnerships and working with teams and groups and just people, I got the job. And since then, I just dove headfirst into all things infrared and really am just blessed to be here today because it's been 5 years of working with some of the top names and experts in the industry. And it's not only changed my life, but I've been able to then teach what I know, probably to an annoying level at times, to my friends, my family members, and then help spread the words through partnerships, much like, again, you guys. So it's just been amazing to be here. And I just love all things wellness and whole person health. And that's where Sunlighten really comes into play.
Yeah. I would love to start talking about the benefits of sauna. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you want to
Well,
go
and
into
right quick too, I do want to dive into just Sunlighten in general. I mean, that I got to talk about myself a little bit, but Sunlighten started at a place from healing as well. So Connie Zach, who I mentioned, her brother was sick and no one knew what was going on. And it wasn't until his dentist figured out that he had mercury toxicity that they discovered, gosh, we need to get you detoxifying your body. And they weren't able to do that. He was completely overloaded. He had chronic fatigue. He really just wasn't even able to work at that point. And this is 25 plus years ago. And they said, okay, I've been hearing about this technology called infrared, and it should be able to help you detoxify. Connie was skeptical. She was actually at Procter and Gamble at the time, working on pharmaceuticals in the cardiology side of things. And that was really interesting for her to see that, okay, this natural thing is going to help you. So it's kind of interesting, the paradigm of her previously working at a company like Procter and Gamble, creating these pharmaceuticals to then launch something like Sunlighten, but they saw a transformation. He was able to detoxify his body, get rid of that mercury, and just become a new person, essentially. He was an artist and color had drained from him, but through this infrared technology, his color came back. So they actually quit their jobs at Procter and Gamble and started Sunlighten. And at the time, again, this is 25 plus years ago. We've been in business 25 years now. The technology was pretty rudimentary. There was not as the quality wasn't there, and so infrared's not new, but it's new to so many people, and they really just wanted to bring that product to the masses, and that's what they did. And so then, yes, let's dive into these benefits because they are wide and varied. I always like to start talking about the foundational side, right? So this list here, inflammation, detoxification, immune function, metabolism, skin, that's a lot of amazing stuff. And it's not like we're just coming out and making this up. Like there are studies that will back each of these claims. And the best part is it's natural. So I always like to talk about what infrared is in general too. So infrared is light. It in this form with the sauna, it's also heat and warmth. So a lot of people think about, okay, I know my traditional saunas. I can't do that. Like especially this community and the sensitivities. Thinking of getting in a 200-degree sauna is just nonsensical. So with infrared, it's gentle. We've all experienced infrared. We just maybe haven't really put a name to it. I was just in an event in sunny San Diego this past weekend, or actually Dana Point, and I found myself in a cold event space, but our booth was actually right by this big window and some open doors. And half the time I felt myself in the sunshine because that sunshine that you feel on the back of my legs that at that moment, that's infrared. It's just such a pleasant, amazing feeling. And so we've all felt it and we all know kind of what it feels like, but we just may not, again, have a name for that, but that's infrared. So there's multiple wavelengths and they each help in different ways to get us these benefits. And again, it's that foundational side. So it's something that is absorbed into the body. It's affecting our mitochondria, which then affect every system in the body. So that's one of the beautiful ways that we can help lower that inflammation and oxidative stress. Like when we're at a point where everything is just not going well for us, much like Connie's brother back in the day, you need to get the toxins out. You need to lower that inflammation so that we can then have a chance to feel better again and live fully. And that's exactly what Sunlighten stands for. Our promise is to allow people to do more and live fully. And that's what we've done since day one.
Yeah, that's awesome. So would you say that the infrared aspect is what makes Sunlighten different than other saunas?
Yeah, it is. Because again, there's traditional saunas, there's steam saunas, there's infrared saunas, and there's other infrared saunas out there in the industry. But just to kind of compare them to a traditional sauna or to a steam sauna with that high heat, the mechanism of action, the thing that's making the changes in the body is the hot air that is you're reacting to. So when the air is hot, your body turns on systems to cool itself down, right? And that is what's kicking off the cascade of benefits for a traditional sauna. But that is also stress. So, same with an infrared sauna, it activates heat shock proteins, and you get that hormetic stress, which hormesis is a gentle stress that is actually good for the body. And that just needs to be controlled because not everyone is ready to get into those hot temperatures. So, what we have with infrared and what Sunlighten has done really well is just dialed in those wavelengths. Each wavelength has a specific frequency that's best absorbed by the body. And so that's one thing that we've done really well too, is dialing that in. We have patented heating technology so that you can know exactly what you're getting every single time. We've done testing. We've shown um, exactly how beneficial our saunas can be because of the way that we know we're delivering that right wavelength. And you're not in there just battling the heat. Because we like to say that these sessions are enjoyable. It's enjoy versus endure. You're not sitting in there counting down the moments that you can get out and feel the benefits.
Yeah. Could you go into a little bit more detail about the different types of wavelengths, like the near, far, near, mid, far, and how each of those supports the detox and circulation specifically?
Yeah, of course. So, again, thinking about infrared as light, as part of the spectrum, we all know the rainbow. At the end of the rainbow is red, right? So, next to red is infrared. And there's three wavelengths, like you just mentioned. Each of them interacts with the body differently. Each of them provides different levels of energy. And through the absorption into your body, they're going to help with different health benefits. So, near infrared is the closest to red, and in fact, a lot of people are now talking about red light therapy, and that is another topic that we can dive into at a later date or later in the conversation. But near infrared and red light are next to each other and they penetrate just a little bit into the skin. So what they mostly help with is mitochondrial health. So again, back to every system in the body is powered by your mitochondria. I go right back to science class. They're the powerhouse of the cell. So by helping your systems, you're going to detox better if you have more energy, more mitochondria producing the ATP that your body then uses to run. Um, so near infrared, again, it penetrates very surface level, but it does wonders for the skin as well. So collagen production, helping with fine lines, wrinkles, all sorts of great stuff there. Mid infrared is absorbed a little bit deeper. And so that one helps with inflammation. And again, with all things that we're experiencing with these health issues, inflammation really damages your body in a lot of different ways. So by reducing that inflammation, helping with the circulation, you're going to better be able to detox because our bodies are wonderful in certain ways, and they can also be extremely tricky. Because you may have those toxins, but you're stressed so much that you're not able to release them. When that's all that our body needs to do is be able to release those toxins. And then that's kind of where far infrared comes in handy because it's absorbed the deepest because of the interactions with our water molecules. So it gets them excited. It changes the structure of our water. And like I call it dancing. Like our cells are dancing. Stuff starts moving within our body starting with our circulation. And so by having improved circulation, improved heart health, you're able to get stuff moving in the body and hopefully flush it out. So our systems we're not out here saying that infrared is going to solve all of our detox problems, but it's going to support it at every single level and enhance our detoxification. We even have studies out there showing that sweat is a viable way to detoxify the body. Some doctors out there still just say that sweat is only used to keep your temperature regulated, but that's not the case. It can help with heavy metals, those plastics, the microplastics that we're experiencing every single day. We're just in this toxic soup environment, and we need a gentle tool to be able to help us support detoxification and just overall health in as many ways as possible. And that's where all three of these layers of infrared can really help do that in a nice, gentle way. And that's what I love about this group too, is like you guys help. You're just the light, the guide, like the northern star for a lot of people, because you help them, and you guys understand too. You're not sending out people to get into these hot saunas and pair some binders right away and just go at it. No, this is something where, yes, it's light and natural, but it's still, I mean, it's like starting a new workout. You've got to get going, and just use it properly.
Yeah. Kimberly, would you like to ask about the red light? Do you think it would be helpful for Vic to talk about the red light since he brought it up a little bit? Because we get questions on red light, and you brought up a really good point the other day that even red light might not be appropriate for some of our really sensitive clients.
Right. It really depends on who you are, where you are in the process, because red light can stimulate mitochondria, and if somebody's hyperreactive, can stimulate a little bit of a cellular detox for some people. It just all depends on how well their body is detoxing at that time. Yeah.
And that's true. I mean, it's powerful. Like, especially these devices that are out there. It's crazy how well and dialed in these can be. And it's something that I've even experienced myself. I've kind of overdone things a little bit when I was already dehydrated and I used the panel for too long with exposure to my back. It was like I stood up and was a little bit dizzy, and I wasn't expecting that. But that just kind of speaks to the power of light. But that's where doing it in the smart way with guidance, that's the way to do it. You don't have to just jump in and dive in. You can dip your toes, see how it feels, and see how your body's responding.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we say is about the titration is everything with Mast Cell, about going low and slow and not pushing through what the body is not ready to handle, and seeing how your body reacts. And it might not react right away. You might need to give it a little bit of time, and then not jumping in as hot as it can go, as long as you can go kind of thing, but more starting, gentle, low and slow. And I love that it's a gentle tool too.
Yeah. And with that said too, it's something where you may not ever expect to get into these saunas at like even 110 degrees, but you can build up to that, right? And start very low and slow. Like you don't even really need the heat aspect. See how your body reacts to the light. One of the analogies we've started to use is think of it like a light switch. You don't have to have it hot in the sauna to be getting benefits. When you turn on the light switch in a room, the lights turn on like that. The benefits of the lights being on are immediate. Same with the body. We're receiving this light energy and our water molecules are reacting right away. So that's where one of our top scientific advisors, Dr. Michael Hamblin, he's the foremost expert in the world on all things infrared. And he has talked time after time with Connie about that, of get into the sauna right away. Like he doesn't even really understand the whole sweating part. He kind of thinks it's crazy that we use this as a sauna because the benefits of the light alone can be so beneficial. And then from there, like as you can get past those moments of, okay, I did not react well that first time, I maybe overdid it. As you build up and get your body to the point where you can withstand that, that's where we're hopefully guiding you to that point that you're trying to reach this through your whole entire health journey.
Yeah. And one of the other things, that we're recommending is that your products are low EMF, which can be really helpful for our sensitive community. So can you help us understand like what that means in simple terms and how Sunlighten keeps those levels low?
Yeah. So over the years, we've really learned to understand EMF levels and this whole entire industry of just the wellness industry as a whole. It's something where I wish I knew the date of like when it started to become, when we started to realize what was happening. But I mean, when we're making these products, we want them to be safe. Whether we're talking about the glues, the varnishes that might be used on some of these things, you want it to be safe. And that is even for the electrical part of it. So every electrical piece of equipment out there emits a frequency, and some people are sensitive to that. And so with the sauna, like we see behind me, it's an electrical component, and there will be some electrical fields that are emitted. But over time, we've really done our best to reduce that as much as possible, whether that's diverting some of the wires away from where you're seated, coating them in certain ways so that they are not emitting those frequencies. And even just testing, like figuring out, okay, this worked, this didn't. So we've done our due diligence to reduce EMFs as much as possible and have done third-party testing to prove that too. So that's always a big important part. And nowadays, throughout the industry, everyone is touting zero EMFs, and ultra low is what we have ours. But it's just neat to see so many people diving into that, but the proof is through using it. I mean, we've just had so many stories of people that are sensitive to EMFs that can use our product when they do react poorly to others that are out there. So it's just something to check into. Not everyone maybe needs to have their Sunlighten sauna right away, but that's where just start checking things out, start seeing what's out there. Just understanding what infrared is and how it can help you. That's why I even like our website. I always tell people, go check out the website, look at the blogs, look at the articles, see the partners that we're working with. Like even you guys have a wonderful blog about infrared, and it's dense. It's got so much great information. So going through that and seeing the history of our partnership and relationship together, because we've learned a lot from you all as well. And that's, again, what I just love about this role that I'm in.
Yeah, and I'll say too, our founder Beth, like she tested the EMFs like of different saunas and came to the conclusion that for the sensitive community, that like your products actually stood up to what you were claiming as far as the EMFs go.
Yeah,
That
and
the
Beth,
testing is really important.
she was just so great. She was one of the first, like when I met your group, when we start doing partnerships and stuff, you never know how it's going to go. But she was just so amazing from the start. And I think a lot of that was her own testimony of her sauna use with Sunlight, because she knew she needed to detox. She had tried traditional saunas. That was too much. And then she was like, oh, infrared, it's more gentle.
Yeah.
And tried a non-Sunlighten product, and that was still too much. But then she was able to, I think she tried it at another facility, and she ended up purchasing one on her own because it worked. She was able to get in, and then, like I talked earlier about building up to it, she really was able to build her heat tolerance. And when she first started out, I mean, you would never guess that you could do that. So, I mean, having that as the voice for this community, it was just perfect. I mean, to see that, to have gone through that, and then to give that guidance, that goes a long ways. And that's where we're here. We're still always working to get better and make better, more effective products. But over the years, we've just gotten ourselves to a nice place.
Yeah. Kim, would you briefly kind of, for maybe people who aren't as familiar with the EMFs or why, we've identified Sunlighten as like the low EMF one, and why that aspect's important for people maybe with mast cell dysregulation or like nervous system dysregulation?
Yeah. So, sauna is just known as a higher EMF item, most of them, right? So I love that you guys designed the low EMF one. And then, yeah, with mast cell. So what is EMF? It's electromagnetic frequency. And when we have that hypervigilance with mast cell, some people are very sensitive to that excess EMF. So it can keep us stuck where we might think, oh, we can't do sauna, but it might just be the EMF and not the sauna. But it's more that it keeps our nervous system and our immune system on hypervigilant if we have that EMF sensitivity and we're exposed to it. And sauna typically can be higher EMF. So I love that you guys have one that's lower EMF. That kind of takes it out of the equation, right? Of what are we reacting to here?
Absolutely. Because there's so much. And that's where, again, quality matters. And that's something that we've really done a nice job over the years. The light quality that we produce. We've done testing, again, even on just how our body is able to absorb that infrared. So with our panels, light energy can be measured in emissivity. That's kind of our body's ability to absorb that light. And it needs to be at the right frequency to be absorbed. Think of it like a radio. Not as many people have the dial radios where you can just move it back and forth and get off the channel that you're trying to be on, but it gets staticky. And then once you dial it into the right radio frequency, you hear it perfectly clear. So same thing with light. I mean, once it's at the wrong frequency, your body's not absorbing it as well. It's kind of just bouncing off. But what we've done is dialed that in too, so that you're absorbing it and it's not interacting with your body in other ways. It's doing its purpose, and then that's where the results happen. And same thing too, it's the EMFs, like I said, but then it's the quality of the product itself. You want something that lasts, and you want something that's safe. There's no off-gassing, just a lot of different ways that we've worked to make these safe for everybody.
Yeah, the low VOC off-gassing is huge as well.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Don't want that. You want to detox, not retox when you're in the sauna. And with that said too, be mindful of what you're bringing into the sauna as well. We can kind of talk about some of our sauna best practices, but it just kills me to see people in there with their plastic water bottles, or even trying to bring in like an oil diffuser. It just doesn't really make much sense to do that. So use this as your sanctuary. I mean, this is a place to escape and to feel better. So you got to be mindful of that in a number of ways.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So obviously we recommend using sauna, but Kim, we often get asked about using the sauna to detox because, people hear about how great the benefits can be. Why would we at Mast Cell 360 say sometimes like not yet? Like if somebody...
Yeah, somebody's not stabilized, right? So if we're not stabilized, we're reacting to everything. Jumping into the sauna is not a good idea because you need everything to kind of calm and stabilize first. The other thing is you want to make sure elimination is great because you're going to detox at the cellular level when you do sauna. If you're not eliminating daily or having a daily bowel movement, that's not getting out. That's getting reabsorbed. And then the other important thing is you need to be someone who is on at least some kind of binder, like a negative binder, like a charcoal, a clay, a chlorella, something like that, one of those, because you're moving things out cellularly and it can get reabsorbed if you're not binding it for elimination. So I do say that's an important piece as well too. Otherwise, it can just get reabsorbed when it's in your intestine if it's just circulating around. So it just helps with the detox. So, somebody who's not reacting to everything all the time, huge. Having daily elimination and being able to at least get some activated charcoal on to catch what you're detoxing and help you eliminate it versus recirculate it.
Yeah, that's perfect to hear. Because even our partners like a Dave Asprey, he's one of the top biohackers in the world. He always saunas with a binder because his comment was if he doesn't, he'll have a little bit of brain fog because the toxins are not removed and getting out like they could, but that's where everyone's different, right? So some people don't use the binders, but what's working for them is they get into the sauna and their brain fog lifts, so everyone is going to be on a different part of the wellness spectrum. So that's where figure out what's right for you. And just like this is showing here, you've got to dip your toes in and just see how things go.
Yeah. So just to recap, like you want to determine, are you ready for sauna first? And then once you've determined you're ready, that's Kim, if you want to go over kind of how we start with our really sensitive clients who are.
Yeah. So starting really slow, like one time a week, right, would probably be a good amount. Couple minutes, 5 minutes max, and using the lowest temperature. Making sure you're in binders, make sure you're hydrating really well, including electrolytes. Huge, right? Because you're probably sweating. You may not sweat at the beginning too. I will tell you, it takes a while to build up with mast cell to be a good sweater, but it does happen over time. Monitoring for signs of, increase in symptoms, overheating, any kind of reactions, itching, flushing, fatigue. Maybe you overdid it and you need to kind of go a little lower and slower. Go slow, increasing your duration and frequency only if you are not having reactions and if it's going really well. And choosing low EMF such as Sunlighten would be and the non-toxic materials so you don't have the VOCs is huge too, so you're not retoxing.
And I would almost say on this slide, take out that when you're sensitive part. Like, this is just how it should be when you're starting sauna in general. Like, this is what I would say for pretty much everyone, like especially the hydration side. We don't realize how easy it is to get dehydrated. I mean, even in a controlled environment, our body's working and it's using those electrolytes to power itself and to operate. And when you're sweating and detoxing, you're losing the bad things, but you're also going through the good things. So hydration is very important. And then, yes, it's that monitoring. It's learning how to use those signs throughout your session of like, okay, now it's my time to get out. You may not think about the itching or the flushing, but that's even something that I experience, and I will adjust how hot or intense my sessions are. So that's awesome to hear for just everybody. I mean, think about it like starting an exercise routine. You don't want to overdo it. I'm learning that myself. I just ran a 10K not too long ago, and my knee still hurts because I was overdoing it. I didn't listen to the signs. And then you're punished, unfortunately, for that. But that's where just go slow and use these moments as like a time for yourself. Like, thank yourself for taking the time to get into the sauna. Because if you're in there 5 minutes once a week, use that to then as something to look forward to, as like, oh my gosh, this is my opportunity to work on that detoxification and as part of my journey to feeling better.
Yeah, I feel like it would be a perfect time to do some, practice your nervous system work or whatever you're doing, your de-stress, to de-stress your body, because that would be a perfect time to do that as well. And kind of doing two with one, right?
Yeah.
I have a question about use during the day. Like, since you're using light,
Mm-hmm.
What time of day is best? And then if it changes seasonally at all. Obviously, like, we're going to want to do it more if it's chillier out.
Yeah.
And I think just naturally, like, the Nordic countries use a lot of sauna because they don't have the light in the winter.
Right.
So we'd love your input on that.
My input is there's no one answer for everybody. Part of that is even just your routine. So I personally prefer to sauna in the morning because for me, it's energizing. I use it for that side of things versus for those that can use it to unwind and get ready for bed in the evening. But really, it's about what you can fit into your schedule and make consistent use of. So consistency always trumps just intensity. So you've got to make this something that's kind of part of your consistent routine. Like, that's what you could build up to is do your morning session 3 to 4 days a week. That's when the results can really start to happen. Not to say that you're not getting benefits when you're using it more sparingly, but it's not quite like the sun, where in the morning, that's when you're getting more of that red light and you're getting some of those warmer frequencies versus middle of the day. That's more energizing. That's the blue light. And then back into the evening, more of the red and kind of colors that are calming. It's not quite like that. So really use it when it works for you. Because again, I like to get the energy in the morning, but some people swear by using it just a couple hours before bed. Which is kind of counterintuitive because when you go to bed, you want your core temperature lowered. But what happens is if you're able to spike your temperature even ever so slightly you're turning on those systems that cool you off so that when you are ready for bed, you're kind of on that downswing and your core temperature is starting to lower. So then you can sleep deeply and get that restorative sleep. So I would just say do it when you can, and what works for you. Try it in the morning, try it at night, but there's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah. So just to recap, so people can modify the time that they stay in, so they can start
Yep.
really slow. They can modify the temperature, right? You start
Mhm.
really low in temperature, and you can modify the frequency. So like Kimberly said, starting 1 day a week, and then as Vic said, getting up to like the 3 to 4 to get those benefits. So, and then we also mentioned like the hydration, the binders, and electrolytes. Kim or Vic, can you kind of go into like which one of the how do we, how do people use those tools in conjunction with the sauna? So should binders be taken before? Um, should they hydrate before to get that sweat, like to have more fluid to sweat, or should they rehydrate after? So any advice for the audience there?
I mean, for me, it's kind of like don't get caught up in perfection around it. Like kind of like Vic was saying, right?
Yeah.
Like if I mean, ideally, you would take your binder before, right, before you start to sweat. But if you remember it afterwards, take it afterwards. And then, I mean, for me, I know I would be hydrating. I'd probably be drinking throughout the time I'm in there, right, and then afterwards for sure replenishing.
I've actually found drinking a cup of warm herbal tea before I get in the sauna helps increase my ability to sweat. So I'm
Makes
like
sense.
doing an external support to kind of increase that body temperature so that I'm more likely to sweat. Because I notice if I go in there, it's been a long time since I've sweat, I'm gonna not have as productive session. But yeah, that again, it's totally personal. I think like you guys are just saying, it's like don't get caught up in perfection and do what you can do because only your body will tell you what it's able to handle.
Yeah, and the warm tea is a great example of ways to enhance without overdoing it on the heat side. Like that is hopefully something gentle enough to kind of kick off that core temperature raise, which is activating these different systems, like I've talked about. Nowadays, we're just in such controlled environments
Mm.
where it's 70 consistently throughout the day. So we maybe aren't sweating or getting that false fever, as you might call it, when your body is getting warmed. So starting with that warm tea or even like some jumping jacks before you get in can kind of get things moving. But that's of course something to try out. And Kim, you nailed it. Don't let perfection get in the way with this. Even if it's like, okay, I know I need to be in here for 20 minutes today, but I only have 10 minutes. Get in, turn it
Mhm.
on, get in, and you may find yourself finding more time, or maybe you have to leave for an appointment and you accidentally leave a little bit late. I'm not saying like change your life and start missing out on things, but we often hear that from people of like, I just stay in for 10 minutes and then that's good enough. It's at least something. Um, and perfect on the binders and the hydration part. Something else to consider is stacking. Kim, like you were talking before, your relaxation practice. Maybe it's a meditation. That's something that is nice about saunas is you can get in there and do other things, stretch, do some gentle movement. But of course, just being mindful of what you're doing and understanding like some of these things, if you're doing breath work, those can too be pretty taxing on the body. Like we were at our headquarters the other day and we've got some yoga sessions that we can do as a group. And the one day we did breath work, and I don't know how many people I talked to after that were like, wow, that was a lot. I didn't realize that even just breathing in these different ways can take such a toll on your body. And I mean, same thing with light in these saunas is just see what works for you. And then kind of go from there and play with it. I mean, that's what's fun is you're going to be doing a lot of these sessions, especially if you end up having a sauna at home. You'll be bringing friends over. A lot of parents even use this as a time to connect with their kids because children are able to get into the sauna. Much like with anyone else using it, you do need to be hyper aware, like 1 minute per age that they are. So if they're 16, kind of limit it to about 16. But this is a way for them to kind of learn more about their bodies.
Mhm.
And that's a case-by-case basis, of course, too. So making sure you consult with your physician and whatnot. But when you have the chance to connect with a family member or friend, that's even more just of that positive aspect of these tools. And really, that's what saunas have revolved around. It's always been kind of a community
Yeah.
aspect to it, and brings families and people together.
I didn't even think about the connection benefit if you have a unit large enough to have someone in there with you and what, what do you how do you connect on that level? So that
Yeah.
kind of is a nice segue into kind of like what are some of the main units that we recommend. So I have a few slides prepared for you, Vic. All right. So which saunas do we recommend? The M-Pulse is our first choice. So this is the one I think that Beth personally had. Can you go into a little bit more details on that unit?
Yeah, so this one is it's got all the bells and whistles, as the way I put it. It does have a little touch screen so that you can choose different programs. You can do a relaxation program. You can do a detoxification program. You can change the frequencies. You can do just near infrared if you want. You can do just far infrared if you want. And like it says, it does include LED light therapy. So that is the way that you're going to be absorbing this near infrared. And now, as you can see in this photo, there's red LEDs as well. So it's a great way that really is the best way to be absorbing those frequencies, the near infrared and red, through LED technology. Um, and what else is fun with this one is it's app controlled. So you can set a schedule so that it turns on at 5 o'clock in the morning. Because we find that just helps you be more accountable. Like if you know your sauna's on and you are supposed to be in it and you're not, you might actually get out of bed and go use it. But that's something to kind of be mindful of, is some people just don't want that. They don't want to have the technology or just these other distractions. So that may not be for everyone. All of our saunas are based in far infrared. So that is the foundation for us. That is the one, again, that is absorbed the furthest thanks to the interactions with water molecules. Um, but yes, this is the one Beth had, and it's an amazing piece of technology.
Yeah. Okay, so what if somebody's in a small apartment and they can't have a large sauna unit?
Then the Solo, which is the sauna that I have at home, actually, because I've got an older home, did not know of a way to get the cabin saunas up the stairs or up through a window or something. So I ended up using the Solo sauna, and I have fallen in love with it. What I like best about it is that you get to lay down and you're just completely covered in this nice warm heat. Um, I always feel like I'm falling asleep at the beach. Many times I do actually fall asleep because I'm saunaing first thing in the morning, like I had discussed earlier. Um, it is far infrared only, but there's high levels of control that you have. You can turn it on nice and low. There's 9 different heat settings. I personally get in right away as I turn it on most of the time, and only go to like 6 out of the 9.
Mhm.
So I don't even get it cranked up too high. But that's partly because I have learned about light energy, and I'm not concerned about just only getting that good sweat, but I sure do build up a nice sweat. The other thing with the space is you don't need special electrical. You can plug this into a regular outlet. Our cabin saunas do require a dedicated circuit otherwise. Um, it's still not as robust as like a washer and dryer. It does look more like a normal outlet. And the lower cost sure helps. Um, and the space too. I mean, if you don't have the room for a big cabin, you probably don't want it in your kitchen or in your living room or dining room. So this I have up in my office with me, and can kind of tuck it away after I'm done using it.
Yeah. And then the signature, what about that one?
Yeah, so this is again a great one when you maybe don't want all of the controls, you're tired of technology, it never works right for you. With this one, it's simple, it's far infrared only. You can see the control panel in the photo there a little bit. You turn it on, you turn it off, you change the time, and you can change the temperature. It still is just an amazing tool. In that far infrared, it's just does so many different things. Um, Talk about foundational benefits. I mean, it's a great one, and it's in a bunch of different sizes too. So the signature um, is another great one, and at a lower price point than the Impulse, and then the Amplify too.
Great. Okay, so you have a special offer for our community. They can visit mastcell360.com/sauna is our pretty link, or you can go to and call 877-292-0021, extension 1, and you can speak to somebody who's going to really help you find the right product for you and can give you those pricing. And our code MastCell360, when you use it to purchase, you can either tell that to the representative on the phone, I believe, or when you're doing your whole checkout, you can put it in. Depending on which unit you get, you can get up to $2,000 off your sauna plus free shipping. So it's going to depend on obviously the unit and things like that. Is there anything you want to add about this offer to our community, Vic?
Yeah. So huge savings. I mean, it is the holidays after all. So we're all about getting you guys some amazing discounts. This is a thank you to the community. So this will be live through the 31st. But even after that, don't feel like you've got to rush to get this. Our consultants are always here to help. This is a big purchase. So we want to talk through everything with you guys. We want you to feel comfortable and confident with your purchase decision. We're not going to just say, you need that Impulse, you need all the bells and whistles. Maybe they're going to point you to that Solo or to a Signature. Just get you started. Maybe they're just going to talk to you a little bit more in depth about the benefits of infrared. These consultants are trained and have put in a ton of time to work with every single customer we have. And when they know that they're coming through the Mast Cell community, they have a little better understanding of like, okay, so a little more of the sensitivities, and they can help you feel confident, like I said, in getting that right sauna, because there's so much to talk through, whether it's even the installation process, the size of your unit, the electrical, the benefits that you're after. There's a lot to consider. And so we want to make that as easy and pain-free as possible so that you can get your sauna and get up and running right away. Because, I mean, with what we talked about today, I'm sure there's many aspects. Maybe you didn't know it could help with your sleep. Maybe you didn't know it could help with your skin health. And it's just such a cool tool, but there's a lot to it. So that's where it is kind of neat the way that we do this process. Same with on the website. Once you fill out the get pricing form, that's when our consultants are going to reach out and make sure that you are able to get the perfect sauna for your needs.
Great. Thanks so much. All right, let's answer some questions. This one, sorry guys, on the back end, I'm not in control today. I was having trouble getting into our platform that we stream on. So I'm going to have Zach put up the question. So I'm going to say the one out loud and Zach will hopefully be able to put it up. If not, we're just winging it over here. This is the fun part of a live show. All right. Beth is asking, what if you can't handle heat?
Great question. And that's where, just like we talked about, before buying a sauna, there are commercial locations where you can try these. So maybe give it a shot where you do go in and just make sure that you're in control. Make sure that you're not going to a facility that's going to say, okay, it's at 1:30, hop in and go. Get in as low as you can and just see how it feels. And if you're not able to do a commercial setting, if you are in an environment where it gets hot during the summer, see how it feels to go and just be in that hotter environment for a short period of time. But of course, use the same recommendations that we had before, the hydration, just being ready and listening to your body. But that's where these benefits can be felt at very low temperatures. You don't have to have the heat. So that's what's nice. If you said the same thing about a traditional sauna, that'd be like go into a warm room, and you wouldn't really want to spend money when you could just maybe turn off the air conditioning at your house for a few hours.
Yeah, so like you had said, like in the solo unit where you go in as soon as you turn it on, so that heat hasn't
Mhm.
even come up yet, and you can do it at like a 1 for 5 minutes. So you can get
Exactly.
the far infrared without, which you can't get if you just turn the air condition off in your room.
Yes.
And
Um,
when I was heat sensitive, I did better with my head out. So I'm wondering about the solo for somebody who's super heat sensitive might feel a little bit better.
Yeah, and that is something I didn't mention about the solo is your head is out. You're laying
Mhm.
down, you're prone, super relaxed. And with my head out, you kind of are able to then withstand these higher temperatures because your head's your thermoregulator. Your head is the one, the thermostat that's like, okay, turn down, cool off, you're hot. And it's like that message system that then controls the rest of your body, including, I'm sure, the responses that you would have if it was too hot. So that is a good point. The solo, it is nice and comfortable for that reason.
yeah. That brings me to a great question that Ellen's asking specifically. She wants to know if you can talk a little bit more about red light versus far infrared for Lyme. I'm guessing that's what she's wanting to use it for. And then she's asking about sauna blanket versus sauna. So she probably asked this before we kind of went over the different units.
Yeah.
But if you and Kimberly have anything to add here for Ellen.
Yeah. So, I mean, on my take, right quick, I can't speak specifically to Lyme, but for me, though, the far infrared would be a little more beneficial just on the detoxification side. It's more foundational. Both of them are going to be helping with inflammation. Both of them are going to be helping with circulation, which are obviously important. But we do know a little bit more about the detox through far infrared. And then sauna blanket versus sauna, that to me goes back to the safety part. Many sauna blankets out there may claim to be safe, but a lot of them use synthetic materials that are just being heated up. So be very mindful of that. And then you're kind of encased in your own, I mean, you're supposed to wear clothing. This infrared energy is supposedly going through this material. So it's really something that's going to heat you up more so than deliver light benefits. So that's something that I've always had a hard time grasping is how this light energy can go through a material that doesn't allow light through it. So it's great for sweating. It's great for a detox in that way. And it's a tool that's maybe it's at the right price point where that's going to get you started. We're never going to say this tool or product is the enemy, but just be sure that it's safe and effective in all the ways that they claim it to be.
Yeah, and I would agree with that of your assessment there. Like the far infrared is going to help more detox. And I like the idea you talked about before, finding something locally that you could try to see how you do with sauna. If you don't know how you do with sauna, right?
Yep. And what's fun is nowadays gyms, health clubs, not only can you find a traditional or a steam sauna, I was just traveling recently and stayed in a couple different hotels that all had infrared saunas. So again, I didn't see a Sunlighten sauna at the hotel, but they are all over the place. So at least give it a shot. I mean, that's what we're here for is educating about infrared and light in general. But we just know our products the best and know what's been in it from day one.
Awesome. Jill is asking, is there a maximum temperature setting for people with mold?
Very individual.
Yeah, I don't think so. Just whatever that you can withstand, but with mold, that's a time too where people a lot is going on in your body. So just being very, very mindful and assessing each time and maybe bumping up until you're at that point where it's like, okay, I'm not going to get much more out of it if I go hotter. Um, so yeah.
Jill, it's going to be very individual based on how your body detoxes too. Basically what he's saying. Yeah. So, if you're someone who handles heat and is detoxing well, you might be able to go higher versus somebody who isn't. And you might both have mold issues.
Yeah. All right. Mary's asking, how important is it to protect the eyes with infrared sauna, or is that even necessary? Because I know with red light, they're telling you to protect your eyes.
Yeah, and that's something, it's a case by case basis sometimes. Like some people with the extra heat of the sauna, that alone can kind of dry out your eyes. But I personally, in the sauna especially, I don't think it's necessary. There are some contradictive studies out there specifically for near infrared. Um, but the more you dive into those studies, you kind of understand that it's not exactly the same application as what you're going to get in a sauna. The levels are so much different. I know one of the studies, it was around like welding materials and the near infrared that's emitted through that. That, of course, is extreme and you want to protect your eyes. But in this case, in a sauna, you should be fine. But many red light panels will come with goggles. And even then, Dr. Hamlin, the infrared expert that I talked about, he specifically uses near infrared and red light on his eyes directly to help his eyes. So if you're sensitive to the super bright red light panels, definitely wear some goggles or at least some sort of protection. But it's nothing where I would be overly worried about making sure I'm protected.
Thank you. Lisa's asking, I have an infrared sauna Gillette jacket. Is this a good way to slowly introduce a very sensitive person to sauna? I'm not familiar with that product. Or Vic, are you?
I am not either. Can definitely look into it. And it's likely a device with LEDs. And again, that's a great way to get some of this light energy. That's kind of what's amazing about infrared in general. Quick segue into the fact that these LEDs and frequencies are being used on neurodegenerative diseases even. So like these are viable ways to improve your health. So I don't know quite what that jacket would be. If it's not just heat, maybe it is a bunch of LEDs. Then that's great. So hard to say.
There's the question. And then if we can throw up Beth's question, is there a smell from the cedar? I'm super sensitive to everything, super sensitive even to my own touch. I think Kimberly,
Yeah.
that question from a mast cell activation perspective.
Yeah, from a mast cell perspective, probably not ready for sauna, right? If you're reactive to your own touch right now. So it sounds like some stabilization needs to happen, a lot of nervous system, a lot of immune system calming needs to happen before ready to onboard that. But good question about the smell of the cedar and how strong that is.
Yeah, and so our cedar sauna, right now we have a limited amount of saunas with cedar, but it does have that traditional cedar scent. So that is where, again, our consultants are really going to be able to do a nice job and talk you through the best option for you. Because our basswood sauna is generally what we recommend for those with sensitivities. The eucalyptus wood is a little bit darker than our basswood. That's a nice option too. But for someone hypersensitive, we typically recommend our basswood sauna because eucalyptus does not necessarily have a scent, especially as you compare it to like a eucalyptus essential oil. That is through the leaves that smell comes from. So it's not the same as the wood. But great question because you want to think through absolutely everything. So that is definitely something to consider as you're going through this process.
Yeah. So I'm going to see if Zach can throw up our slides real quick for us. Just want to remind people that you guys are doing a sale, and that's till the 31st of October, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then again, still plenty of opportunities to get savings. Still mention Mast Cell 360. Use that link when possible because that's, again, how our team's going to know. And then you're going to get those extra discounts. Yeah, this community has just been really special to work with from the start. Like I said, I mean, Beth as that guiding light, she was just so warm and your audience is just so receptive to these different modalities. And you can tell, like, everybody is just here and so fortunate to have you as this other guiding light. Because Kim, even just helping answer that last question, um, everyone here is going to be real and honest, and we want the best for everyone, and not pushing you to make a sale or anything, but just providing this information so that you can make an informed decision and get on that way to feeling better and doing more and living fully.
Yeah. So the great news is, this is a replay. If your Facebook takes it down after 30 days, so if you aren't following us, head over to YouTube and follow Mast Cell 360 over there, and you can continue to have access to this replay for a while. If you're kind of like working on those stabilization pieces and want that refresher to see, am I ready for sauna? Or if you want that more personalized one-on-one support to see, are you ready for sauna? You can book a strategy session with us, and that's our foundational tier of support, or the advanced ongoing long-term support is going to be working with both a health coach and a lead practitioner. And we can kind of help you get that stabilization piece on board so that then you can move forward onto that gentle detox piece of your mast cell journey. So you can find out more information about working with Mast Cell 360 at mastcell360.com/application. All right, Vic and Kimberly, thank you so much for being here with us today. Do you have any parting words for our audience?
I would say know thyself, right? Like know yourself and where you're at, and don't push through. Keep moving forward without pushing through.
I love that. I first want to say thank you again for allowing us to be part of this community and support how we can. We're always here to help. Again, you've got the links. You can follow us on social media. The website's a great place to start just as a whole. Again, searching through those blogs. Connie Zach, you'll find her on podcasts throughout all of the wellness space. So listen to one of those on your drive, or if you have some downtime, because it's these deep dives and these conversations that can help guide you to better health. And so it's such a great community. So I appreciate you all, and best of luck moving forward.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for being here with us. We will see you next week. Bye, everyone.